Welcome to this week's edition of SBR's NFL Rundown. Here we'll go over a few of our early leans for this week's NFL schedule. So let's not waste any more time and let's get right to the picks, starting with the Giants and the Bears. Week 5 was a complete mess for the Giants, who now find themselves in a deeper hole at 0-5. Eli was picked off 3 times against one of the weakest defenses in the league, the Philadelphia Eagles. This puts him at 12 picks on the year, making Eli the quarterback with most interceptions in the first 5 weeks of the regular season. The betting trends show us that the Giants are 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 games on the road, but they are 4-1 against the spread and straight up when playing on the road against Chicago. Also, the total has gone over in 4 of the Giants' last 6 games when playing the Bears on the road. Despite having some horrendous start to their season and all the odds being against them, I think that the Giants will be able to keep the game close enough to cover. So I'm going to slightly lean on the Giants spread for this one. I don't expect them to win the game though. Next in line is the Saints and the Patriots. Here's a game that's going to be very interesting from every possible angle. On one side we have the 5-0 Saints, and on the other we have Tom Brady and the 4-1 Patriots, who just lost their first game of the season to the Cincinnati Bengals this last Sunday, with a depressing score of 6 measly points to the Bengals 13. The Pats lost thanks to the Bengals defense, and it gives every Saint fan out there a hint of hope, as Rob Ryan has made believers out of those doubters who thought that the Saints defense could only get worse with him calling the plays. So far, they are currently ranked 11th in defense, while the Pats are in 16th. Now, speaking offensively, the Patriots lost a lot of their main targets, and you can tell that this has affected their overall production on the field. However, the Pats are in the middle of the board, ranking 18th offensively, while the Saints are in the top 5th, ranking 4th in offense overall. This tells me 2 things. First one is that we could be in for a high-scoring game, making the over 49.5 look very interesting. And the Patriots laying 3 points lead me to believe that bookies want to set us a trap. So considering that the Saints have a much better defense and offense, I'm going to have to lean on the +3. Brady is still struggling with his new receiving core, and until they all get on the same page, I see them struggling yet again for another week. Another interesting game is the Oakland Raiders against the Kansas City Chiefs. The Raiders, as we know it, usually have a hard time finding the end zone. Strangely enough, in the past weeks, that hasn't been much of a problem for them. Still, they are ranking 22nd in points scored overall. On the other hand, we have the Chiefs, a team that Andy Reid took under his wing as the head coach, and now can be found as one of the 3 teams that have yet to lose a match coming into Week 6. The Chiefs' defense currently is ranking number 1 regarding points scored by opposing teams, allowing only 11.6 points per game. So this tells me that it should be a low-scoring game, and the under 41 looks too tempting to pass up. Another game that we're looking at is the Carolina Panthers against the Minnesota Vikings. Regardless of having a 1-3 record, the Panthers' D is very decent, allowing only 14.5 points per game, 3rd in the league, 301.5 yards per game, 3rd in the league as well, and 92.2 yards per rush. Meanwhile, the Vikings, who are also 1-3, rely heavily on their run game, posting an average of 126.8 rush yards per game and only 223.8 yards per game passing. So this leads me to believe that Carolina has a much better chance of coming out with the win. The only issue is, can Cam Newton carry his team to victory? That will remain to be seen. In this case, I have to lean on the over 43.5, as it looks like we're going to be in for a bunch of points. And finally, we're looking at the Redskins against the Cowboys. After almost 506 yards, 5 TDs, and only 1 pick against the Broncos, it looks like tides are changing for this team. There is still a heap of doubt on their defense, as they're ranking 22nd in points allowed and 28th in overall yards per game. The Redskins' trends aren't looking any better. They're allowing 28 points per game and 440.5 yards per game, ranking them at 32nd in the league. An interesting trend is that the total has gone over in 4 of Washington's last 6 games when playing on the road against Dallas. So considering all these trends, I'm actually going to have to lean on the over 53 for this match. Well, that's all for this week's NFL Rundown. We'll be back next Monday for more coverage and free picks for your favorite NFL games. For SBR Forum, this is Dax Floyd.